Erev Tov Rabbi Say, this evening we are arriving at the midah of Tefaרת Shebiyisod. Tefaret Shebiyisod is one of the central midas within Sfiras Omer. It's not to the right, it's not to the left. It is down the middle. You have Teferet Yisod and Malchus that go down the middle. Tefaret Shebiyisod is something that creates a tremendous sense of straightness, of alignment, of direction in the life of a person. What exactly is the avodah of Tefaret Shebiyisod? So as we've explained a number of times, the world of Yisod is the world of Kedusha, the world of Tara, the world of Kedushas Habris, Kedushas Einayim, Kedushas Haloshen, making sure that we say and we act and we look and we behave in ways that are indicative of the fact that we are attempting to become tzadik Yisod Olam. We're trying to do what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants us to do in the world, and that is difficult. Meaning, it's doing the work of making all of that happen. The world of Tefaret Shebiyisod is to do it in such a way that is beautiful in its doing and is beautiful in its result. That's what the Mishnah says in Avos, that it's called Tiferes Loi Min HaAdam and Tiferes Loi Le'aseh. That there's Tiferes to the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Rebbeinu Shalom looks and says, beautiful. And Tiferes Loi Min HaAdam, other people look and they say, wow, beautiful, look at that. And a lot of the time, I'll tell you what the opposite is, because we've all heard the opposite. The opposite of Tefaret Shebiyisod is where somebody comes up to you and says, I just saw or read or heard that so-and-so did A, B, and C. And if that's how religious people act, well then I don't want anything to... That's the opposite of Tefaret Shebiyisod. Meaning, a person that is trying to be a tzadik, and the result is that somebody looks at that and goes, ugh, don't like it. Don't like it. Meaning it doesn't create a hisparis, it doesn't create a sense of beauty. It might be tzidkus, but it's not beautiful. It's not harmonious. It's not something you look at and go, wow, look at that. Look at that person. They act in such a way, they are refined, they have good midos, somebody that I can have a conversation with, somebody that's worldly, somebody that has values and all of that in the best way is called Tefaret Shebiyisod. That doesn't mean Chalila to cave on any of the pieces of Yisod. That's just sheker at that point in time. Meaning, hispyrus to have pe'er, to have tiferes in such a way that it diminishes kavod haTorah. The people look at them and go, you know, you don't have to take this Judaism thing so seriously. Look at so-and-so, they're religious. They don't really care about how they speak and how they act, and that's not Tefaret Shebiyisod. That's a Chilul Shem Shemayim. Tefaret Shebiyisod is what the Gemara discusses and describes, Kuf Yud Mesachos Pesachim, that there were two tzadikim, Rav Chanina and Rav Oshia, two tzadikim, two Amoraim that lived and worked in Eretz Yisrael, and they, when they would sit in the marketplace, so the Zionis, the ladies of ill repute, would walk by, and Rav Chanina and Rav Oshia wouldn't even lift up their eyes to look at them. They would speak nicely, they didn't spit, they didn't yell, they didn't throw stones, they didn't close, they just didn't look up. In a way that it was very clear that they didn't want to see that. Says the Gemara, what was the net result of this? Is that when the princess, when these licentious women would want to take an oath, they would swear by Rav Chanina and by Rav Oshia. Meaning, that was their beacon of morality in the world. These guys that wouldn't give them any attention. Meaning, there was pe'er, there was tiferes shebiyisod. That midas hayisod of, I don't want to see that. I don't hate you, I don't want to throw stones at you, I don't want to curse you, I just don't want to see that. The result was that those women themselves, when they had serious things to think about, when they had meaningful things to discuss, things of significance, of weight, of value, they would swear in the name of Chanina and Rav Oshia. Tefaret Shebiyisod. The Yisod gave them Tiferes, and they used that Tiferes to further enhance their Kedusha. It's a very beautiful thing. that a person is a tzadik, and people look at them and go, wow, that's a tzadik. This is a tzadik. Somebody told me a little while back that, and I won't mention it because I don't know if this is supposed to be quoted, that that there's a certain optometrist that sees in New York that sees thousands of patients and has had decades and decades of a career, and there was a certain big tzaddik that needed to get his eyes checked, needed to get a new prescription for his glasses, and the optometrist said afterwards that I've never seen eyes as healthy as those eyes on a man that age. His eyes looked like they were 5 years old. He hasn't looked at things. He hasn't spent his time staring at other people's stuff. Well, whatever it meaning in areas of Shmiras and but also in areas of what Revolvi describes as sakranut, like this curiosity that kills the cat and also kills our relationship to the Ron Shalom sometimes, right? Like we don't always have to be so curious about everything. I don't need to know. I don't need to know what's going on in their life. I don't need to know what's going on through their world. I don't need to know. That's Teferet should be said. There's a beauty in not needing to look. Teferet should be said. That's in the word of Ben Adam Lamakim, Ben Adam La'atzman primarily. Teferet should be said is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put a teva into the Bria, Hashem implanted into existence, that when a person lives with tzidkus, for real, other people value it. They see the value of it. That's Teferet should be aside. And you see that this is exactly how Yosef HaTzadik is described. Yosef HaTzadik is described as tzadik, he is tzadik, and he's incredibly good looking. That's the midah of tzadik for real. Is that the pe'er of the tzadik comes through. And you see this, Yosef, but all of Bnei Rachel. Rachel Imenu is paradigmatically the one that is beautiful. It's not that, today we'd say, she's a model. That's not the Indian. Rachel Imenu and all of her descendants that live in that way, live in the way of tzidkus, are beautiful to look at. It indicates the capacity for a human being to look in a certain way that inspires a sense of I want to be like that person. And you see that by Yosef HaTzadik, and you see that with Binyamin, and you see Shaul HaMelech is described as head and shoulders above everybody else, and Mordechai and Esther is Chen Be'enei Kol Re'ah. So all in that world of Tzadik. Teferet should be said is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that if a person acts with Kedusha and Tara, for real, that creates Pe'er. That people look at that and go, wow, look at that. And that's true by the Jewish people as a whole. Yisrael Hashem B'chai Espire means that if the Jewish people act with tzidkus, that the world respects us more, not less. What about in the world of Ben Adam Lechaveros? So we've spoken about this a few times before. Teferet should be aside means that in our communication, the way that we speak to other people and the way that we speak about other people should always be with Pe'er, should always be with Lashon Nikiyah, should be nice words and should be clean words and should be kind words. All of that is in the world of Teferet should be aside. But it also means that if you want somebody else to grow, if you want somebody else to become the person that they want to be, you got to help them in the midst of your sight. Help them in the areas that they're struggling in Kedusha and Tara. Give somebody a hand when they're feeling down on themselves about their struggles, whether it be what they're doing and what they're looking at and what they're saying and what they're seeing and whatever it might be, any area that requires more avodah in the world of tzidkus, you can give that to somebody else by being misparing them, telling them Hashem thinks the world of you. And when you give that to them, you give them pe'er, that'll give them the chesed to have more yisod. The Teferet should be yisod. You look at somebody and say, tzadik. And they say, no, I'm not a tzadik. He said, but you can be. You can be. Yisrael Hashem B'chai Espire. V'amich kulam tzadikim. At some point in time, you're going to become a tzadik. V'hoku b'kruk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu insists. It's going to happen. Yisrael Hashem B'chai Espire. The Rebbeinu Shalom wants you to. Hashem Yisbarach, to be continued.